Majo John Madden, they call me Juanito in Mexico. But I'm going to title this video, which I think is going to run kind of long, We Will Survive. We will survive, no matter what. Us humans, as a species, we've come this far. We're going to survive at least for a while. And in the U.S., my friends there, the good progressives in the U.S., their rallying cry is, we will survive 4 years of Trump. We will take back the reins of power. We'll get this country back on course. And, who knows? Who knows? They might do it. We might rescue the planet. It's not clear. This morning I made a video titled The Horror Show in the U.S., America's Nightmare, to watch or not to watch. Now I have a background distraction. There's a barking dog over there. I think that fits the theme. I had the choice. Yesterday I made a video back in there with the door closed because he was barking. I'm just going to include him today. To me, he represents the forces of oppression. On a street here in Mexico, in this humble pueblo of Acamal, where the dogs run free. The dogs run free, most of them on this street. This is Mufasa, a name I gave him, lives next door there with Marisol and Raul. Gorgeous people. I love those people. The dogs who are in here with me right now include Negro. Negro's the black dog over there. These are all names I gave him. Raul and Marisol have different names for them. That dog over there, I call her Spot. And the dog on my bed, I call Princess. Free agents. They're all free agents the way dogs are meant to be. This poor dog over here there are dogs that don't get out of their yards. That's the only dog I know of who gets tied up. And he cries because he's unhappy. So one of the themes is going to be, are the forces of oppression going to win? Or are the forces of light? And I'm using the theme of I Will Survive because the song I Will Survive by Gloria Gaynor has a lot of personal significance for me. Back in Nashville, North Carolina in 2020, it must have been February of 2020, our new minister, maybe I will move back in. You've got the video, all the visuals of that. I am going to move back in. February of 20, back in Nashville, North Carolina, progressive, artsy mountain paradise, recently pretty much destroyed by climate change. The storms from Hurricane Helene should not have gone 2,500 feet high in the Appalachian Mountains and wreaked the damage they did, but they did. So the U.S. now has a climate denier as commander-in-chief. Someone who is such a sophisticated con man, still got really good con man instincts, that he thinks he can say that up is down and black is white, no climate change, and get away with it. And he's got so many desperate people in the U.S., desperate for something to make their lives better, that they follow him no matter what. Mexico, the U.S., he and the right in the U.S. want to say that Mexico is the problem. The cartels and the fentanyl from Mexico are the problem for the U.S., and if we brand the cartels a terrorist organization so we can send our military into Mexico to take them out, that'll make things better. Here in Mexico, we have a climate scientist as the president, Claudia Sheinbaum, with an 80% mandate. And she's very clear about the cartels, and she has said it very specifically to Trump. You say the cartels are our creation and your problem? They are your creation and our problem. They would not exist without the money, the profits they get from the U.S. I've got to drink something. Their money comes from the U.S. Their guns come from the U.S. They can't sell fentanyl in Mexico. My people are happy. They drink beer. Your you have the population that is so neurotic and under so much stress and pressure that they use drugs. Doesn't happen here. So she's not taking shit from him. So February of 2020, back in Asheville, North Carolina, I was a member of a very progressive church. I had been for 16 years. Very gay-friendly, a place where I came into my own as a performance poet, using musicians to support my poetry. They had made a very courageous decision to replace the 30-year minister. He had been there 30 years. He was an old man, 2 years, I think he's 2 years older than me. When he finally decided to retire, they went way out on a limb and hired a lesbian minister. And it was too much for them. They weren't enlightened enough, because when she showed up and was a New York Jew, real, the minister for 30 years was third generation Methodist minister, and he had the ministerial persona down. Not to say he was a phony, but he was. Smart, funny, charming. But the joke was, do you remember anything he actually said? Well, no, you didn't. She came in and he was a musician, and there was really good music there. But she was a nationally recognized musician, used to playing for thousands of people. She talked about her own sexuality. She was threatening. When she was angry, you saw it. You knew she was angry. No, the good hypocrites from that Southern Christian church couldn't tolerate it. Well, that hadn't come to pass yet. In February, she was offering a course on performance skills because she was a nationally recognized performer. And because that church supported the arts so much, there were a lot of us who participated in plays, performed poetry, dance. And so for Amy Steinberg to offer a course on performance was hot. That was exciting. So I think 12 of us came out. And we had one class, and we each were to bring a song that we were going to karaoke for a night of performance and karaoke. And the song I brought was I Will Survive by Gloria Gaynor. And I'm not a great singer. I'm a pretty good performer, but not a great singer. But I had worked hard on that song. And at the end of the evening, we all had performed our song. And Amy says, well, does everybody agree that John ought to close it out? They call me Majo there. That song, I Will Survive by Majo, that's got to close out the show. So that song means a lot to me for lots of reasons, including that one class was the only time that class ever met because the COVID struck. And the same week that the COVID closed down Asheville, North Carolina, Amy got fired out of the blue. She thought it was just her 6-month review. She expected them to say, well, there's this and that, but you're doing great, which she was. The church was on fire. They fired her. The forces of oppression won there. But that song stayed with me, and then shortly thereafter, about a month after, I left Asheville, North Carolina for the high mountains of North Carolina. Spent a year up there and was on the road for 4 years. The last 2 years in Mexico. Now I'm making an executive decision. I wanted to tell a couple of my own personal stories, my own personal survival. I'm going to just tell that they are there, and I'm going to put them in separate videos. Yeah, I've got pretty good stories of my own personal survival. The one I'll put in just at the end, I've been in Akamal for 4 months now. I was on the road 4 years, old camper vans, guy with never enough money because I'd worked in corporations enough to have a decent Social Security check, but not big. So I've been poor the whole time on the road and have survived a lot on the road. in Cozumel. My destination had been Cozumel because I really wanted to swim in the ocean every day and learn from the indigenous people. I've realized only after getting here that that was the subtext. But I've been influenced by Latino people a lot in my life and love them very much. Well, in Cozumel, pristine island, gorgeous, huge cruise ship traffic, and very wealthy expats settling there. A whole lot of Texas Republicans settling in Cozumel. And the deal is, we're going to keep this island looking perfect. And it is not technically illegal to be poor in Cozumel, but actually it is. The poor people in that town, the homeless community, which I have a lot of background with homeless people, they know you are not to be seen on the street at night. It is not to be known that there are poor people in this town. Well, the people who get my money to me, because I've had a problem with my credit card the whole 4 years in Nashville, and people have to send me MoneyGrams, couldn't get me the money. I was homeless on the street for 11 nights in Cozumel, 77-year-old guy at that time, sleeping on concrete benches and dodging the cops because they had already warned me, I'm going to throw you in jail. The one story of speaking truth to power that I will include here, there are several I want to tell about me on the road. In the big Juarez Park, I think they call it Juarez Park, the big park where the cruise ships dock in Cozumel, I knew that cops could arrest me there for sleeping on park benches. But the guy who was the night security guide for the park liked me and took me under his wing and was giving me clothes and food and said, I'm keeping the cops off your back. Well, one night that did not succeed, and with a big pickup truck with 5 Mexican cops, and I overall like Mexican cops, but not Cozumel Mexican cops. They said, get out of here. I said, well, Freddie, night security guy, he said, it's okay, I've got his permission. He's the night security guy. We're the police. And I said, oh, tough guys, huh? And that felt good. The guy didn't even realize he was a super arrogant punk. He didn't even realize he had been insulted, so I pushed it a little further. I said, hot shots. That time he got it, and he said, okay, come on, you're under arrest. And I turned, I said, I'm getting my stuff, I'm getting out of here. And as I turned to the bench, I smiled so big, like, yeah, I landed one. Good deal. And you're not going to get arrested. You're going to march off of here. Speak truth to power. And I survived that. I was super traumatized. When I arrived in Akumal and got shelter in a nice hostel here, I took 10 days to just shake off the trauma. And now I've been here in this nice little house with a wonderful, wonderful landlord, Mayan man, for 2 months. And I have some personal challenges. My passport was stolen in Playa del Carmen. I have no passport. And I need to move on to Tulum because I can't make any money in this little pueblo. So I'm facing some personal challenges. But I will survive, by God. So it's cold here this morning. And I was sitting in the doorway over there making my videos and organizing my videos. And I got cold and I said, let's put on some rockin' song and warm up. And I remembered Gloria Gaynor's song and put it on and danced and danced and danced and said, you need to tell this story about that song and how it has kept gay and lesbian people afloat. It has been adopted by LGBTQ plus people around the world. We can survive, folks, and we have to. We're the light. We're the light, and we have to keep it shining. May mean dosing yourself. My dose of American news is 15 minutes a day. I can't survive. I can't stay strong and fresh and alive and happy looking at it too much, but I will confront it. I won't ignore it, and I will keep posting about it, and I will keep trying to support my friends. Come together, love each other. I'm a survivor of the 60s and the 70s. Come together right now. We gotta come together, folks. Okay. Keep the faith, people. Keep the faith.